that, without further ado, we're going to have Captain Reece come up. Captain Reece has been chartering in this area for 3 years, fishing in the area for a lot longer. He's going to talk tonight about redfish and grouper. His charter company is SK Charters. SK stands for Silver King. So we're really excited to have Reece here. He's been a part of the club now for a year. Been a great supporter, and we're happy to partner with him and have him up here and to share his knowledge with you guys. So here you go.
All right, it's my first time public speaking since college, so if I go too quick, let me know.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me? Closer? How are we feeling? Good? All right. So yeah, like Katie said, I'm going to be covering, check. Better? Close? Okay, I'll keep it close. Yeah, like Katie said, I'll be covering redfish. If you ever caught one, you kind of know why. It's a very desired species in Tampa. Beautiful fish. They bite really hard, very pound for pound, a hard fighting fish, and then they taste amazing too. So, yeah, little background. Like I said, I've been chartering for 3 years, been fishing Tampa Bay for 6, and I've been targeting redfish for a little over a decade. Competitive fishing for them out of a kayak originally, and then now obviously guiding. I don't know why I put this away. I'm gonna keep it out. But yeah, first off, for Tampa Bay specifically for redfish, I think they're one of the more skittish fish in the area. So if you have a trolling motor or power pole, those are tools that you can use to your advantage. I think they scare easily, especially if you have a lower tide. So just my first tip of the day is going to be stealth is your friend. Also, if you have a loud live well, I know it may not sound like much, but I saw differences when I had a loud live well than when I went to a quieter live well. So just another quick tip for that. Thank you. And then, yeah, moving on to bait. As many of you know, white bait's kind of the go-to around here, or pilchards. I think fall and spring personally is when I see better success with those baits. I think in the summer, I think smaller white bait or pinfish is definitely a better option. Some of you may have heard of cup bait. That's also a great option, cup mullet, cup pinfish. So I would say with redfish and when I get into grouper, just be flexible. These fish are going to want different things at different times. Sometimes you can get away with 15 to 20 pound leader. Other times you're going to have to scale down a little bit. Same thing for grouper, which I'll get into a little bit. But yeah, another on bait. Mullets are a great bait to use if you can catch them. But if you're going to buy them, they're a great cup bait. So it's a great cup bait to use along with pinfish. And then if you find mullet, so if you're in an area where you see a lot of mullet jumping, that's a very good thing to see. Usually means there's also redfish in the area. And so I'm not saying you see a mullet, redfish is going to be there. But like I said, be flexible, move around a little bit, and you will find these redfish. And yeah, lastly, I get a lot of questions about artificial. The first year that I moved here, I didn't know what I was doing. I moved here from Georgia. And so what I did is I used artificial baits to kind of find fish. And so when people ask me what baits to use, I pretty much stuck to a Miridine, a MR17, MR27, or the smaller Miridines. I think it's a great way to cover a lot of ground quickly and also an effective way to catch fish. Paddle tail, also very effective. Maybe in like the winter months when it's a little slower, or late fall, early spring. And then even like a Ned rig, kind of bass fishing tactics also works great. So I get a lot of questions on artificial fishing. It can be a grind to use, but definitely worth it when you use it. And then yeah, another question I get is my setup. So I run super light. That's just what I do. I'll go medium light rod, 3K reel. I'll use 8-pound test to 10-pound test. I have 8 rods set up like that, and I use 15-pound leader. Sometimes I go down to 10. If you catch a snook on that, good luck. It's gonna be tough. But if you're mainly targeting redfish, I go super light. And the key here is to just tie good knots. I know it's easier said than done, but if you tie good knots and have a good quality rod, good quality reel, you can pull big 30-inch reds out of the mangroves. It won't be an issue. Just tie good knots and have good quality materials, and you can use these ways to catch fish. Another question, tides. Personally, like I said, they're skittish fish, so I like a strong incoming tide. I think these fish like water over their heads. So if you get a strong incoming like we've had recently where we'll get a 2 or 3 foot tide and really dig into the mangroves, it'll be more difficult to find these fish, but I think it's overall better. If you have that end of the incoming, start of the outgoing, that hour before, hour after, that's the best tips I can give in terms of tide. And then if you're also on a grass flat, an outgoing tide. Thank you. Thanks for keeping me honest, Lori. So an outgoing tide on a grass flat, it's a great way to kind of find fish, even just drifting a grass flat, not even power poling or trolling motor down or anchoring. It's just another good way to kind of target fish. There's going to be a Q&A after, which I'm sure I'll get a couple questions on redfish, but I'll get into grouper quickly. Grouper season's coming up September 1st to 14th, as many as you know. In terms of fishing in the bay for grouper, not going offshore, I think there's 3 main methods. There's obviously fishing the bridge, there's drifting baits around structure, and then there's trolling. Or I guess there's bottom fishing too, so 4 methods. But what I can speak to those is that recently there's been a ton of grouper around the bridge, but on the weekends when we get in grouper season, it's going to be really tough to find your favorite spot at the bridge. So just a quick recommendation, trolling plugs, whether in shipping channels or around deeper structure, is a great way to find where fish are hanging out. So that'd be just a recommendation that I've used personally to find grouper around the bay. And so just kind of figure out how far back from your boat your lure is when you're trolling. Is a good way to find structure or just find where grouper are hanging out within these channels. Other than that, highly recommend pinfish. It's kind of the go-to bait for red grouper and gag grouper, whether drifting or fishing the bottom. I think those are both pretty effective baits. But again, like I said with redfish, don't be afraid to be flexible. If they're not eating pinfish, big white bait, thread fins, things like that. And yeah, I think I covered everything here. Oh, my setup for grouper fishing, it's very similar to what I use for tarpon fishing somewhat. I go super light. I know a lot of people use 100-pound braid. I go 30-pound braid, 40 to 50-pound leader. If I'm trolling, I up all that times 2, so I'll use 80-pound leader. But I use a 7 or 8 foot rod, an 8K reel, and those are kind of my go-to ways that I target grouper, find grouper, and attack grouper within the bay. Like I said, with redfish and grouper, it's about being flexible, trying different things. Not one thing is going to work throughout the entire year. In the wintertime, white bait's a lot harder to come by. So for redfish, I would definitely say be open to using pinfish or shrimp and just trying different things. If the fish aren't biting, be flexible, move around, and other than that, I think that's it. Go ahead.
So have you found that redfish will swim their way out of the mangroves if you keep pressure, unlike a snook?
Yes. No, so I think casting accuracy is a lot more important when redfish fishing, especially if you're using like a cut bait. But if you are chumming and you're seeing that they're hitting the chum, like when I say chumming, like throwing white baits out, they will come out of the mangroves. But when I'm red fishing, I want to be as far back in there as I can be, or as close to the mangroves as possible. So.
No way.
Yes, Tanner.
You talked about having a strong grade for leader. What do you suggest for that?
So he asked what leader knot I use when whether it's grouper fishing or redfish fishing. Redfish, I use an FG knot. It's kind of been my go-to. There is the Alberto knot that I'll use if I'm on the boat, just need to tie something quickly. But FG is definitely the strongest knot I use. If I go anything past 20-pound braid, I'm using the FG. I just think it goes to the guide so well. So that's primarily the knot that I use. Sorry. I only use nomads, but I've heard Rapalas work well. But the big 6-inch nomads, we catch 18-inch grouper on them and we catch 30-inch grouper on them. It doesn't matter. They don't seem to care what we're using. We catch them on wire too. So like when we're kingfish fishing, we'll catch them. So they don't seem to be too shy if they're eating. Yeah, I use 30-pound braid, but I definitely up the leader to 80-pound, sometimes 100, depending when I'm around. To your point, yeah, I go about 150 yards back, 100 yards back, or feet, sorry, feet. I go about 100 feet back, 150 feet back, and I'll have two going at separate distances, but yeah, that's primarily what I'm using. Then, I mean, it depends on the moon, I'd say. I prefer, if I'm on a full moon, the purple color. It's been known to work really well, but I'll run 2 different colors. So I'll run like a blue and a purple usually. Sometimes white, depending on how dirty the water is. But yeah, those are primarily, Nomads is kind of my go-to. It's mainly 20 to 30. And I'm usually for grouper, I'm not going past there if I'm trolling. I mean, in the shipping channels, it goes down to 40, sometimes 80. So anywhere between there, but usually 20 to 30.
So you don't use downriggers or planers?
I use planers, yes, if I want to get them deeper. But from what I've found, it's not always necessary. Like for kingfish fishing, we're using planers, and we will get grouper. But it's like I said, you kind of got to be flexible. If you troll for an hour and nothing's happening, might be time to switch something up. So. Any more questions? Yeah. Yes. So like I said before, once you hook a grouper, kind of figure out what area you were in, and then I'll go around running like 2 knots and kind of just see maybe what they were on or see if I see any sort of structure there. And once I do that, I'll kind of mark it and maybe come back when I've got a different tide and I'll bottom fish a little bit. But yes, I'm definitely using my electronics very similar to offshore fishing, to where I'm wanting to see a little action on the bottom, or at least looking for structure on the bottom at the very least. Yes.
Longest grouper in the bay?
I've seen 45, like lower 40s, but biggest on my boat, caught by my wife right here, was a 36. So pretty good gag grouper last year, yeah. It showed her a good time. Yeah. That was $600 just right out of my bank account back into my bank account.
So was that on the troll, and did you have to stop the boat?
No. So we were drifting baits around structure, and the line just took off out of her reel, and she got it in like a champ. I think her wrist was hurting for 3 days, but it wasn't on the troll. Yes.
What's your technique to take it under a rock?
Pray to God, really. I mean,
Other than just leave it slack?
leave it slack's kind of the go-to. I definitely don't recommend just trying to horse them out. I mean, if it's that first little bit, try and get them out. But if you're screwed, just hope they come out. And if they don't, yeah. I mean, there's not much you can do. We lose a ton of fish, lose a ton of gear. It's just part of the game.